Okay, I just filmed another video on the Israel apartheid. There's a lot of topics I could be talking about. There's another topic I might shoot today. But the topic that always is priority number one, even in front of the Clinton books, is Obamacare. And I'll commit right now, as long as Obamacare is on the books, look me in the eye, I'm not going to shut the fuck up about it. And you can go fuck yourself if you think I'm ever going to accept any of the lies that are being spread about it, that people are going to die if it's repealed, and that it's some sort of elixir of good that people who are racist just can't seem to stomach. Obamacare has fucked this country so bad, and it is the single most deceptive piece of legislation that I remember personally. Now, I could be wrong. There's other things, there's other problems that have come up in the past, but the fact that we've been taught that you can't question this, and that for some reason you can't be a rational human being if you're against this. You know, I think even progressives have to agree, and I'm going to be doing a video on them hopefully right after this. It might not come today. This video might not even make it up today. In fact, I doubt it will. You might have to wait till tomorrow night. But I'm going to take as much time as I need to really lay into the other people. There's this constant just procession, parade. I don't know what to call. I'm calling it from now on the Ho Chi Minh Trail of lies around Obamacare. These journalists that just trot out their bogus statistics about why it's not as bad of a deal as people think. I forgot what her name was. Somebody from the Washington Post did it last year. Nobody is fooling me, especially not these Paul Krugman people. But you know, those people have been exposed before, and the problem is that as many times as you expose them, they never seem to lose their credibility. It's almost as if they have tenure or something, which I fully believe that there is something like that involved in the journalistic world. In my opinion, if you make these prognostications and you turn out to be as fantastically wrong as the Obamacare supporters have been, you deserve to lose your job. Now, the object of my rant today is Eugene Robinson of the Washington Post. I'm not going to post an archive link this time because it happens to be on Real Clear Politics, and I don't care to post their stuff because I think RCP is actually it's a good aggregator. And he says House Republicans are apparently ready for yet another attempt to snatch health insurance away from constituents who need it. Someone should remind Speaker Paul Ryan of a saying often attributed to his legendary predecessor Sam Rayburn: "There's no education in the second kick of the mule." Having failed miserably to win passage of an abomination of a bill, probably the only passage I agree with in this article, the American Health Care Act, Ryan and his minions are back with something even worse. A draft framework being circulated this week would pretend to keep the parts of Obamacare that people like, but allow the states to take these benefits away. We see what you're doing, folks. So I'm not going to read through the whole thing. It says, I'm sure the crowds at GOP town halls will be understanding. Just be sure to check attendees at the door for tar and feathers. And it goes through this entire nonsense that he's trying to make it sound like these Republicans are going to suffer because they're repealing Obamacare. They're not going to suffer at all. I can guarantee you that. If anything, for one thing, they promised this. Okay, so don't go and try to make it seem like they're betraying anybody. The only thing that they did was betray the vision when they tried to pass that bill, which you appropriately called an abomination, a couple weeks ago, or was it a month ago? I don't even remember. We are done, you know, believing these lies. And it says here, but Republicans are okay. Let me start here. We live at a time of enormous economic dislocation. The manufacturing sector has shrunk dramatically, and now retail may be starting down the same path. Long-lost jobs in industries such as coal mining are not coming back, no matter what Trump says. Workers need to be able to move to the places where jobs are being created, which means that health insurance should ideally be portable. But Republicans are heading in the other direction by trying to set up a system in which there are radically different health insurance rules in different states. In today's world, how does that make sense? And then it says, unchanged from last month's bill are provisions that would strip massive amounts of money out of Medicaid, by far the nation's biggest source of payment for nursing home care. So Republicans might not want to show their faces anywhere near retirement communities. The Affordable Care Act changed the way most people in this country think about health care. It did not, however, change the thinking of many House Republicans, who continue to believe individuals should be held financially liable for genetic predisposition towards diabetes or a random cellular mutation that leads to cancer. Another abject failure to repeal the ACA would be a terrible political outcome for Republicans, but far worse, looking ahead to the 2018 midterms, would be for Trump to sign this latest monstrosity into law. Now, let me remind you that these are the same people, and Robinson didn't say it here, but he does not understand that Obamacare is already a failure. It was declared a failure last September by the Chicago Tribune. If I can remember, I'll post a link in the description. In fact, I'll look it up right now. Okay, sorry, in trying to pull up this article, I did kind of cut off the video, but I'm going to try to merge them together, but if not, this is part 2 to the Obamacare rant. Basically, on September 9, 2016, the editorial board of the Chicago Tribune declared that Obamacare had failed. This is the flagship paper of President Obama's hometown, or home state, claimed that Obamacare had failed. So it says some types of plans could cost an average of 43 to 55% more. So there is no affordable in the Affordable Care Act, you fucking asshole, Eugene Robinson. It's getting progressively more, just more expensive. It says many Illinois customers will find fewer choices because major carriers fled the market. United Healthcare bolted, so did Aetna. Land of Lincoln Health collapsed mid-year, leaving policyholders to scramble for coverage that could cost them plenty. In many places across Illinois and the nation, people will find drastically fewer choices of plans than they did last year. Those insurers fled because they didn't want to lose more money on a government-run market that is so far out of whack, a market they think likely will never be profitable for them. That isn't surprising, as we enumerate below, but by diagnosing Obamacare, all of us can see the mistakes that any repair or replacement can avoid. So let's look at the failings and how they can drive solutions. Obamacare failed because it flunked Economics 101 and Human Nature 101. It straitjacketed insurers into providing overly expensive, soup-to-nuts policies. It wasn't flexible enough so that people could buy as much coverage as they wanted and could afford, not what the government dictated. Many healthy people primarily want catastrophic coverage. Obamacare couldn't lure them in, couldn't persuade them to buy on the chance they get sick. Obamacare failed because the penalties for going uncovered are too low when stacked against it in skyrocketing premium costs. Next year, the penalty... Okay, I'm getting into the weeds here. Obamacare failed because insurance is based on risk pools. That is, the lucky subsidize the unlucky. The unlucky who have big health problems and big medical bills reap... Anyway, I'm going to paraphrase it. I'm not going to run through the whole thing. I don't have a lot of time today. And there is another topic I want to get to that is also very fun. But like I said, I'm committed. I'm committed to staying on Obamacare. And I'm not going to stop. Okay? And if I'm wrong, I'll come out. If I'm wrong in the future, you know, I'll come out and you can crucify me. I don't give a fuck. Because I've staked everything that I have said in the past 2 years to the people I know is that this program is a failure, and everything they've said has proven to be wrong. Okay? Now, the whole risk pool business is that if you want an insurance market to succeed, a given market, you need policyholders that are not filing claims to be the majority of the people in it. So if you have people with pre-existing conditions, and it's an unfortunate truth, okay, you fucking single payer people, don't comment here. This isn't where we're talking about single payer. If you want to talk about single payer, that's a different argument, okay? In Obamacare, which is what we're talking about today, they apparently thought it was a good idea to plunge all of these high-risk people that had mountains of claims into the market, force them on the insurance companies, and subsidize it. And that's where we've gotten ourselves today. Now, there's another article, and hopefully it doesn't do the same thing as last time, but let me pause it again. There's another article that explains that not only is Obamacare a fucking failure the way it is, but it's been a failure even with extra money that it's been appropriating illegally. Now let's hold on. Okay, it says here in Forbes on May 12, 2016, it says, Judge rules administration illegally delivering funds to insurers participating in Obamacare. Today, a federal judge sided with the House of Representatives in a major lawsuit challenging executive branch overreach, ruling that the Obama administration has been making illegal payments to health insurance companies participating in the Affordable Care Act exchanges. U.S. District Court Judge Rosemary Collyer found that Congress never appropriated the billions of taxpayer dollars that the administration has delivered to insurers through the ACA's cost-sharing reduction program. Today's decision is a victory for the rule. Okay, he's giving his opinion here. In any case, they've been using alternative revenue streams that are illegal, that Congress has to approve, that it hasn't approved, in order to fund Obamacare, in order to prop it up. If, by the way, okay, the other headline here is not just the Democratic Ho Chi Minh trail of journalists that come out and basically take direct hits from, average economists. People with half a brain can debunk their idiotic arguments. You don't have to be, again, I'm not a healthcare professional or an insurance professional. It's just so simple that it's easy to debunk. But what I'm saying here is that not only is that the scandal, that you have these, people who claim to be credible journalists coming out and defending a failed policy, a policy that the former president, the author of the policy, his hometown newspaper has called a failure since last year. But you have Congress knowing that it could just shut off the spigot anytime. Okay, President Trump also knows he could end this illegal appropriations. I'll tell you what they're called in a second. They're called cost-sharing reduction payments. Okay. Which are additional subsidies for people with income below 250% of the federal poverty line. Okay, these are extra, look, these are things that are not included in the law. They're not included in Congress's appropriations. It's basically illegal shit. Okay, it's almost like the bank manager robbing his own vault and stuffing it in his pockets and handing the money to anybody. Basically handing it to the insurance companies, as the article says. As the article says, it's basically your money is being stolen from you. Literally, there is no. It's literally illegal, and the federal court is allowing it's allowing it to continue up until the Supreme Court confirms its ruling. Now, let's get beyond this, okay? Obamacare, this makes me so pissed off sometimes. Obamacare is a fucking failure. It always will be a failure. Those of you that are drinking the Kool-Aid on this, I don't care who the fuck you are. It's been a lie since the beginning. All the promises that it had, that it would reduce healthcare costs by up to $2,500 per family per year, which was what Obama had said during his campaign. Later, he completely altered the way that the plan worked. So, of course, that promise went up in thin air. It went up in smoke, I should say. The keeping your doctor and keeping your insurance plan, if you like them, those were lies. There were lies about, one of the bigger lies that people ignored was that it guaranteed there would be more competition. There's actually less competition under the exchanges. Okay, it's harder for smaller insurance companies to compete nowadays. The other thing is that it would allow low-income people to have coverage no matter where they are in the country. Now, on the face of it, that's still wrong, because let's say, first of all, the majority of people who were covered under this program were actually covered under a different program, under Medicaid, because it included a Medicaid expansion. The other issue, which by the way is what the Sanders people want, so as far as they're concerned, for any failures that Obamacare is incurring, they just want a Medicaid expansion. That's completely off of the, it's part of the strategy. If the more Obamacare fails, the more the progressive left will demand federal government health care. Okay, now I'm not going to have another video today because I can see I'm running long anyway, but these lies are just so transparent that it basically boils my brain when I see people talking about how this is a crime that the Republicans are trying to repeal it. What about the crime of the crime of stealing from the Treasury, which is basically what the government is doing right now? They're stealing money from the Treasury. There's already been a court ruling that they're not allowed to do it, and they're still so it's almost as if they've been caught, but they're not getting arrested. And it's really a show of a lack of leadership and honesty on the part of the Republican Party, that they go to Donald Trump and they say, look, let's put a stop to it. All they have to do is really end the payments, end these CSRs as they're called. And one other point I was about to get to, I think I kind of just went on a tangent for a second. The claim that they're expanding coverage to everybody is also now a transparent lie, because as has been shown, and I can't post links to everything that I'm talking about, but you can look it up. There are already parts of Tennessee that will have zero coverage from under Obamacare next year, I think that, they have zero coverage next year. There will soon be, also for next year, 2018, parts of Georgia, parts of, I believe, Colorado, that will have zero federal Obamacare coverage. And the more companies pull out of Obamacare, the more these things continue to happen. You're just going to have more dead zones for Obamacare. It's going to be like, how cell phone coverage was once a problem because there weren't towers anywhere, and gradually the whole gap was closed, and now there's virtually universal cell phone coverage. It's the reverse with Obamacare. They started out with universal coverage, and it's almost like watching a chandelier go out, one light at a time. That's the way Obamacare is going. And I'm not going to keep going on and on about this for today. I don't have enough time, and you can probably tell I'm very amped up about this. I could keep talking to you about it. I could probably repeat myself a lot of times, but don't believe a fucking word they say, and stay strong. We are going to, hopefully next week, this is my one last word. I have hope. There's lots of word next week. They are going to pass something. Now, I'm not sure if it will be the bill that I want. I just want to repeal. I want to repeal. I want something close to the Paul plan. I don't know. I don't think we're going to get it. But at this point, we do have to kill it. I think this plan is better if it's according to what Eugene Robinson's complaining about, because then the states could probably just nix the rest of the plan. No state will end up covering this except states that are already digging themselves into the grave, like New York and Connecticut. It's going to be amazing to see the difference in results. You're going to see some states that are just going to dump it like tomorrow, like West Virginia. West Virginia is already dumping all their Obamacare provisions. There's nobody. This bill, if it passes, it will end up being, I think it's going to be a bomb that blows up in the face of the media, because they're not going to be able to point to all these people that are going to die because of Obamacare. You're going to have, now the other thing that has to happen is we're going to have to come up with a different system, eliminate a lot of these limitations where you can't trade insurance across state lines. That's a different discussion for a different day, and we've gone on long enough. So anyway, this is Ramon for Bold Like a Leopard. bold against Obamacare, and I want you to keep being bold against Obamacare. Don't give in. Don't believe the lies. And we'll see you around the bend. Have a good Shabbos, everybody.